Alrighty, so we got our bracket. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing started. Get my dig up. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this started. Dino T. Yep, I did delete it, everyone. So, the first matchup we'll be watching is the champ. He is the top of the seed, so it's only right that we watch him first. You can, if you can, Deception, check out his deck list, and he is versing Momo911.
Yeah, I actually have everything pulled up. I see Momo Sarada 21 is who his opponent is. We do know Dino T's been dominant in the previous tournaments and the last tournament as well. His current decks he's running is a PTP Forest, and it's actually interesting. He's actually bringing Earthright Rune.
Yep.
So that should be really
It's funny. He during the first season on the second tournament, he brought an Earth Rune that dominated the scene. If this is similar to how he was playing on the first Earth Rune, we can see an Olivia in there and everything, right?
No Olivia. Here's the interesting thing about his deck.
Okay.
It's sort of standard. He's running Insights, which is not standard. He's running... The big thing that gets me here is he's running 2 Mithril Golems. That should be interesting to see. So a double Mithril Golem Earthright. And then for his PTP, it's his list that he generally always runs 2 PTPs, but what's interesting is the 2 Odins that are in the deck. So it should be interesting to see. On the other side, we do have Momo, which is playing a Tempo Forest. The interesting thing about his deck is he's running Ancient Forest Dragon. He's running Verdant Stewards, Pixie Paradise, and Elf Wanderers. So cards you generally don't see in Tempo Forest. Especially the Ancient Forest Dragon, Pixie Paradise, and Elf Wanderer. I don't think I've ever seen that card played, unless I was playing in Take 2. So that should be interesting to see. And then he is bringing a very standard Stormhaven list. So we have Dino T's PTP Forest, Earthright Rune, versus Momo Sarata's Stormhaven and Tempo Forest.
So what do we know about Momo's deck? Did you...
Yeah, I was just saying...
Oh, you were just saying. Okay.
Yeah, he's running, a Tempo Forest list, but running Verdant Stewards, Ancient Forest Dragon, Pixie Paradise, Elf Wanderers, like very unique cards.
So he's running pretty much like a lockdown, almost?
I mean, it's weird. He's got Wind Gods, he's got Cynthia. It's like standard Forest, but he has Elf Wanderers in, which honestly might not be that bad of a card.
It is.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, the Elf Wanderer is the 2/1 stat, and if you play drop 2 fairies, you draw a card.
No, Elf Wanderer is the 2/2 that ignores Ward.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I said it was unique.
Okay. Apparently I do not remember my cards. I do remember a Wandering something that was a 2/1 that draws a card. Okay.
Yep, and he's running Pixie Paradise, which is also
as a one-of?
Yeah.
It's frequent to see a one-of around. So. Alright, we gotta mention this Momo911 guy. I think we're waiting on Momo to get into the game right now. We're currently on standby until he comes in.
Alright. Should be very interesting to see what happens in this match. Dino T's known for bringing different decks. I don't know much about Momo, but it seems like his Tempo Forest Craft deck is very unique. I really want to see it in action.
Oh, there he is. It's Momo. Alright. Seems like our match is about to start soon.
Alright. We're almost underway.
The first thing first is we get Dino T versus Momo Sarada. He's fairly new to the scene, so first tournament as well. Not much is known, but at least he has an interesting lineup.
Yeah, he does have a very interesting forest deck. I really want to see that, and Dino's Earthright deck should be very fun to see.
We also see Dino T running No More Haven. He likes to switch around.
Yeah, he does. He always brings something, but he stays pretty static with his PTP Forest. I think I've seen that every time.
So far? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's the same list, so he must really enjoy this list, and it must really work for him, at least in a tournament setting. I don't know if this is, you know, something he plays on ladder, but it seems like he has it fine-tuned for tournament play.
Yep. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get this match started. Both teams are ready.
Alright.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Just waiting on him to ready up. Ready for some action.
There we go. Now they're starting. Alright. Jinx.
What do you... You owe me a Coke? What do you think they're gonna go with first?
I want to say Dino Tease is probably going with this Earthright first.
I would say the same.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That means we gotta switch this around.
Should be interesting here. Earthright versus Tempo Forest. Earthright's actually pretty good against aggressive decks, especially Forest, because cards like Calamitous Curse and, you know, he is running a lot of wards. You know, they always say with Earthright, you build a wall, your opponent pays for it. So
yep.
They have a lot of wards that are relatively hard for Forest to constantly get through.
Yep.
But he does also run Mithril Golems, so he's got some board clear on top of the Calamitous Curse. The interesting thing, though, that I was saying about Moto's forest deck is the Elf Wanderers that get through wards. He's also running Ancient Forest Dragon, and he's got, you know, Infinite Fairies with Pixie Paradise, so it should be interesting to see how the deck plays out.
Okay, so he's going on curve with the Time Worm Mage. Oh, I also see a Healing Angel too. Nice.
Yeah. Interesting. He played the Levi, but it makes sense.
He just needed a 2-drop. So I might as well go on curve here. The thing with Earthright is you're trading a lot and you're more of a control. And this is actually a good matchup against, since this is tempo and not PTP. Bad RNG for that elf main though. It's not too bad.
50-50. Yeah, this matchup is relatively, in my opinion, in favor for Earthright, simply because of all the wards and the removal that they do have. All they have to do is control the board and grind down the forest player's hand.
Yep.
And once they start getting the wall down, it's near impossible for him to get through it.
It was also a right decision for Momo to start going face, because at this point, with all this defense here, he's gonna have a hard time breaking through.
Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult to keep getting through these wards. You look at his hand; it's relatively small, and you know, even these 0-2 wards are negating a lot of damage, and Dino T's got plenty of cycle in his hand. The creation, he just picked up another Fate's hand. He's got glow, so he's got a lot of generation cards.
Ooh, Mithril Golem.
Yeah,
in case, yep, and in case nobody who doesn't know, especially if you're new, this is a legendary card that deals 1 damage to all enemy followers, deal 1 more, depending on how many spell boosts. Of course, when you click this button, you're allowed to see how many cards that were boosted.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see how big this thing gets, and it'll definitely clear a board.
Mithril Golem in an early game, it's a pretty good charge. Not many use this.
No. Generally not ran, so it's very unique in this deck. It's not a card you see ran often.
Yep.
So he does decide to play the fairies here, which is probably smart. If I was Dino T here, I'd be thinking, you know, does he have, you know, Cynthia next turn? Does he have a Wind God? So you sort of need to prep your board to be able to deal with all the damage that may be coming through. The Levi pickup was great, being able to Evo, use the Crimson Sorcery, which is the spell you get from Time Worn Mage Levi, to clear pretty much the board. And he's got the Scrap Iron there too to stop damage, and he's got the Fate's Hand, so...
we also know that he still almost has 2 fairies in his hand.
Yes.
Which is sitting like right here. And also whatever this card is that he, or did he drew into the 4-drop?
I believe he drew into the 4-drop.
So this 3 here might be just all fairies, which is not very good. Looking good for Momo right now.
Yeah, this is
oh, Cynthia. I was just kidding.
So he did have the Cynthia. Okay. That's what sort of gave it away to me, is the fact that he just played the 0-cost fairies and was trying to get a big board.
Yep.
Generally, when that happens, you're gonna assume they have, you know, an Ancient Elf, a Cynthia, a Wind God, something to get value out of all the 1/1s there.
Yep.
For Dino T, though, something to mention is he doesn't have any more Evos, so, you know, he's not going to get the value from the Remy. It does help that he has Junos in hand. That can stop some more damage as well. Junos, what it does is at the end of your turn, it puts a 3/3 ward golem in play, a Guardian Golem. And it does that every turn for 3 turns. And if you have an Earthright out, it automatically spawns 1, so you get 2 off the initial drop.
Which is good for defense for a while, but this is going to hit him for a lot.
Yeah, this is a lot of damage.
Well, the thing with Earthright Rune is that they excel well. Ooh, they excel well into have going second, but when they go first, they just have a lot of limited options.
Yes, they have a lot of cards where the Evo potential matters, and now he knows that in his hand. He's got that Cynthia. He's got to find a way to clear this board. He can't leave anything up.
He also needs to find out how he can put more defense into this.
Yeah, I mean, he does get the 3-3 at the end of turn. He doesn't have any Evos over on Momo's side, so if you can just stall it out a little bit longer, he may
no,
be
that's
able to
game.
stabilize.
That's Cynthia. So he can play the destroy this, and then this is 3, 2, and that's game. That's round 1.
Wow. That's the power of Tempo Forest when it curves out well.
And especially if they're going second as well.
Yes, like having that extra Evo for cards like Cynthia or Wind God, or just to take Tempo, hence the name of the deck, makes it very, very powerful.
And this means that we're going to see Momo's Haven.
Yep. So what he has left is Stormhaven. Dino T has both his Earthright Rune and his PTP Forest left.
Yep.
I would say if I was Dino, I'd probably stay with my Earthright Rune versus Stormhaven.
Yep.
Cards like Kaleidoscope Glow and Petrify can really slow down the Haven, and that's all he has to do is slow it down.
So now we get to see Momo's Haven. Not bad for a first turn. Or first tournament. Especially competing with the champ.
Did very well. You know, the game,
he did.
when the deck curves out, it curves out, and he played it right. So.
Oh, forced again? Uh-oh. There's a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, he should have switched to Haven.
Yeah, he needs to switch to Haven. I guess he didn't understand the rules.
Wow, we sort of ran into a snag here, guys.
Yep, give me a moment. Hopefully they'll get this. Collared, no tie? What's that mean? Oh,
yeah, we're all dressed up.
Yeah.
Business casual, you know.
Pretty much. We're trying to get a communication with the matches right now.
Yeah, for anybody that didn't get to catch it, when you win with a deck, you actually cannot play that deck again. You have to win with both decks.
Yep.
He had just won with his Forest, so he should have switched to his Haven deck, and he still played with Forest, so that's unfortunate.
Yep.
Now, does that result in a loss, or?
No, he needs to play with his Haven. If he does it again, we'll count this as an auto loss for him. He also needs to read the chat as well, the battle flag. There we go. Alright, now we get the right match. Second mulligan, and looks like Dino T actually has a better hand from the previous one. So this actually looks pretty decent. This.
Yes. Wow, he actually opted to keep the Altered Fate. Generally, from what I know, and from me, I mean, I play a decent amount of PTP. I generally don't keep the Altered Fate and risk drawing into another one early, unless I had a Fairy Circle, a Fairy Whisper, really had the Fairy generators.
Well, what kind of Haven was this again? Storms?
Storm.
Yeah. The thing with Storms is that you kind of do want to use Altered Fate on this, or early as possible, because it's an aggro deck. And if it was something slower, you can actually opt out Altered Fate or with or mid ranges.
See, I like the other way around. When I'm playing against the control type deck and a slower deck, I like keeping the Altered Fate.
Really?
Because it gives me time to build it up. Against an aggro deck, sometimes, see like the situation he's in right now, he's sitting with 3 Will of the Forest, which is going to be really big board clear for Forest, and I know it's one of the few cards that help me stabilize the match. If he Altered Fates, he throws away all of his real hard removal. Besides like Sylvan Justice, he has to hope he really gets into some cards that can lead him into these following turns. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to navigate. The triple Will of the Forest is very hard to throw away.
Yep. He's gonna have to think here, does he need to throw away all of this?
Yeah, I mean, you have to decide, do I get rid of my board clear to potentially win the game, or...
Alright, so he does have a Glimmering Wings. It's not too bad of a choice.
No, at least it gives him some options to cycle.
What he could do is just play nothing here and just use the first Will of the Forest if he summons anything.
Yeah, I mean, I would just try and chain my Will of the Forest and pray I don't draw into like another Altered Fate.
Yeah, or PTP.
Yeah, I mean, he is only running 2 in the deck, so that's something to note. If he does drop one, he only has 1, so he's got to be very careful on playing through his cards here, making sure he doesn't... PTP has a bad tendency to sometimes draw dead, and wow, this is awkward because Will of the Forest doesn't kill everything.
No, that is 8, and he has exactly 7, so one of them will live. If he's lucky, he can kill the Regal, and then keep that 1 damage for the 3/2.
He'd have to be extremely lucky, and I don't think that's a risk you can take, because getting smacked by another 5, which he's probably going to anyways. At this point, at the Stormhaven, he's just going to go face.
Yep.
That's another 5 damage that puts Dino at 8. That's a very rough life total to be at when you're facing Stormhaven going into turn 6, 7.
And it seems like the B player, Momo, is having some pretty good draws right now.
Yeah, he is curving out perfect and having the right things to play.
So he has exactly 8 here, so this gives him the clear. You can also play out both the fairies and set up for Ancient Elf.
I would keep the fairies
to do the roach?
Because I have 2. Well, you have the roach, but yeah, you can like Will of the Forest, Fairy, Roach, something.
Yep.
Even hit his face with it. So Will of the Forest, Fairy, Roach. If he doesn't have something to put on board, what Dino T can actually do is Fairy, Glimmering Wings, Rhinoceroach, and Ancient Elf.
Yeah.
So then he gets the roach back, and that's a lot of damage.
It is.
Push. So yeah, this right here, I'd probably just Will of the Forest. Play one of the 0-cost fairies, maybe even both, and Glimmering Wings.
The Odin is actually pretty good here.
Yeah, Odin might not actually be bad, especially getting that on an amulet. The problem is next turn, he could just Garuda.
Ooh, and that's a fairy beast.
So next turn we have to count if he has Garuda, That's 3 plus 2. That's 5 damage, 7 damage with Evo. So the only way he would die here...
And he doesn't.
Nope. Okay, well, Dino T's in a very good spot. Picking up that Fairy Beast is really big.
Can Evo this before, and he can certainly play the Fairy Beast. And then...
Ooh, the Heavenly Hound going in there for the block.
Yeah. The thing is, I would not play Will of the Forest.
No, you have the Fairy Beast, and you would also use the Fairy and
Evo
turn
it
the
up.
Rhinoceros into the Falcon.
Well, Falcon, it's not enough damage though. Oh yeah, he can.
Yes,
I was just kidding.
0 plus Fairy.
Yeah. I knew that.
So with this hand, he still has Fairy Circle,
Yep.
Ancient Elf, and Rhinoceros, so he can start pushing some combo damage. He doesn't need to Alter Fate. If he gets the Ancient Elf bounce on the Fairy Beast... Oh, okay.
Alright, things are looking really good now. Wow. He was in a really pickle... He was in a pickle earlier, and now he's like... All the pickle juice is gone. It's good now.
What kind of pickle?
Yeah, he took it all.
Yeah.
So...
Wow, he decides...
Well, it's not too bad. I mean, gives him a final clear. He only has 1, so whatever he has in that hand, it shouldn't be too much of a threat. So now he can just build it up,
Yep.
and then just play, you know, the Fairy and then the Altered Fate. Hell, he could play the Ancient Elf, make it big, and then just be like, hey.
Altered Fate, yeah. I mean, next turn, his big play would be, he could push damage with Roach if he wants to, honestly. It depends. He has the option to, let's say, drop 2 fairies, Ancient Elf, drop the Fairy Whisperer, and Altered Fate.
Yep.
He
Actually,
could opt to just Altered Fate for the Fairy Beast or something, so he's got options.
He does. And that's the first P2P. It's a little bit unfortunate, but that means he has 1 more in this deck.
Going against Stormhaven, burning a PTP always feels bad, but you're primarily not going to win with it. I mean, sometimes you do. All you have to do is just stop the damage. So, burning a PTP, getting to your Tias, you can outvalue them with cards like Tia and Ancient Elf. Like, they burn out quick, and if you look at his hand, he's got 2 cards. He's definitely going to have to probably Ancient Elf here. Play the Fairy Whisperer and Altered Fate. Get rid of that. Wow.
Or Crystalia too.
Yeah. Actually, the good play here is playing the Fairy.
Ancient Elf.
Ancient Elf, and then Tia.
Yep. And then next turn in preparation for P2P. And his shadow is currently at 13. So this is actually pretty good. Worst case scenario, I mean, even if his worst case scenario is getting Dance of Death, and then that's about it.
I'm sort of confused why he didn't just make the Ancient Elf. He could have made it a 6/7. He could have played 1 more Fairy there and bounced it and had a bigger Ancient Elf. So that's sort of confusing. Not too sure why he did it. I was trying to think of a reason why he would have done that.
He might have just overlooked it. Sometimes when you're playing and you want to play optimally, you just tend to Alter Fate into Alter Fate into
Roach. You're looking for Roach here. That's all he needs. I would just Altered Fate.
1 more
for the Roach.
Yep.
Yeah.
No Roach.
Wow.
Not even a PTP.
Roach. He did pick up the Fairy Beast though, so the only thing that kills him would be another Garuda. We do know that in his Stormhaven list he is running triple Dance of Death.
Yep.
He's only running 2 Garudas. Wow, that's
That's weird.
That. He's running only 2 Garudas when usually that's a staple 3 of.
Maybe he didn't have enough for a 3rd.
Yeah.
And no Dance of Death.
Nope. And he is running triple Sister Initiate, which is also unique for Stormhaven. You usually don't run Sister Initiate, and if you do, it's usually like a 1 of.
Yep.
So that's interesting.
First win. Oh, I forgot to even switch it too.
So they are now 1-1.
Yep.
Looks like Dino T will be going back to his Earthright list, and Momo will be staying with his Stormhaven list.
See how well the bracket is doing right now. Seems like most of the matches are nearly complete. Some people might be dropping out quite early from the first round because they did not check in. See a lot of 2-0s.
Yeah, I mean, generally with these types of tournaments, it's very common for a person, if they do lose, to just drop from the tournament, especially if they were aiming for a top 8 spot. So nothing new when it comes to this format for people that may not be aware or wonder why people would drop out of a tournament.
So now we have Runecraft versus Storms. I think Earthrights, yeah. I think he should have an edge on this. He does have Petrification for the amulets, which is a good start. So it definitely slows down the even.
Yeah, the Petrifies here are huge. One of the big things too, you know, with Earthright, I really do like the matchup versus Stormhaven. The problem is Earthright's just like very inconsistent. You notice here, like he doesn't have many Earthrights. So when he gets into those later turns, when he's trying to, you know, play as Remy or the Ancient Alchemist, you really want to try and have the Earthrights. He did have the Dogma there, which turn 2 Aria into turn 3 Hollow Dogmas, one of the strongest Haven plays you can have. On the bright side, Dino T does have double Petrify. He did pick up a Glow, and he also has another Levi in hand, so that's pretty big.
So with the like the first match, he was first, and now he gets to be second, and we can also see that he can definitely make more plays going second.
Oh yes, most definitely. Earthright having that extra Evo for their followers that they have, especially Remy and Rami.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really strong. Evos are very important with Earthright, and that's why I also think it hurts the consistency when they don't get to go first.
So he's gonna have to Evo here to get the 1-drop Crimson Sorcery, but he's gonna hold on to this.
Yeah.
Especially for defensive use. Those of you who do not know, the Crimson Sorcery deals 3 damage to an enemy, and that includes face.
Yes, and it is only 1 play point, which makes Levi very strong. Definitely one of the strongest minions, or followers, excuse me, that Runecraft has.
Crimson Sorcery is a minion, we all know this.
Gosh, I'm losing it, guys. He did pick up the curse here. Unfortunately, it doesn't do much. This is where I was saying Earthright starts to starve. He's got no Earthrights out. He can't get value from the Ancient Alchemist. The Petrify still leaves him a 2/2 on board. The curse doesn't remove much. It's he really needs to cycle.
I find it interesting that Momo didn't Evo to do 5 damage.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what's in his hand. The Kaleidoscope Glow there on the Levi was very important, because that means he can re-Evo it,
Yep.
trade it again, and now he has 2 Crimson Sorceries in hand.
And that's actually a pretty good combo too. Recycling the Levi to get the double Crimson Sorcery. That means he has answers, and he can actually wait out to get the next amulet.
Yes, and he needs to get some sigils very soon. If he gets a sigil soon, especially like a Scrap Iron, getting that O2, playing it into an Ancient Alchemist, and getting all the wards is very important. Insight. At least he got some cycle here. Glow. Ah, that's unfortunate. I mean, all he can do here really is Healing Angel. He's got a very awkward hand.
Yeah, it's a cute golem now. And it gets returned.
Okay, I mean, you can make that play, and he did pick up another Levi.
I would try to save that to maybe get a Remy Rami.
Yeah, I definitely would see what kind of threats are presented on board and go from there.
Ooh. And at least he gets to do 2 damage here, but that was his second one, so we should still expect another one.
Some Priestess. We picked up some more cycle. Again, honestly, right here, I would just curse. I'd start trying to get some of this clunkiness out of my hand. The curse right now would clear what's on board. He opts to just draw. He does have removal, so he doesn't have to do it that way.
Alright, that was good. So he might just play the healing here.
Yeah, maybe just Healing Angel and Crimson Sorcery down that next one. Because he still does have a Levi in hand to Evo. He does have the Ancient Alchemist, which is going to pick him up Guardian Golems. So I think he's trying to get as many cards out of his hand as he can.
Yep.
So he can get all those Guardian Golems and not overdraw.
Yeah. And what's good too, that Fate's Hands is down to 3.
Yeah, so he'll have that cycle as well. Don't forget the Guardian Golems. When he pulls that down from the Ancient Alchemist, he'll be able to at least play one. So he's in a very good position.
Meanwhile, our opponent here seems to have like not a lot of options. That was honestly, I don't understand why he still has 2 Evos waiting for him.
Yeah, it's very awkward. The fact that he just had the barrage didn't really do much, and now he's in a really bad spot. The Conjurer Guardian also boosts the Fate's Hand, so, and it boosts the Mithril Golem. It counts as a spell, which works for spell boost.
All right, so I see that he's holding his Evos. I think he was waiting for this moment to actually start using it, which
try and get some value from the Cudgel here.
Yeah. I mean, he has it, but there wasn't any good opportunities to use it. So, it somewhat makes sense.
He may have another one in hand, which would be very good for him because he could get through these golems.
Yes. It's good here, now his Fate's Hands is at 0, so he can cycle in more cards.
Yeah, and he does have the Levi still. Oh, wow.
And he opts out not playing that, though. Instead... Oh yeah, that's right, he doesn't have an amulet.
Yeah, he could have had it next turn, but he doesn't need to wait. All he has to do is take the board now and grind Momo out of cards, and there's nothing he can do. Like, look at this board. It's gonna be... Oh wow, the triple Calamitous
Triple.
So can we change it from Caster Curse to Calamitous Curse? Alright, that was bad. I tried.
That was yeah.
I tried.
I think my pun's a little better. Good try.
I think so.
Too bad he can't Evo that, but it's okay. Remy's cute.
Yeah, Remy's got this.
And now our opponent is just looking really bad right now. He does get the Hollow Dogma, the 3rd one, and gets to draw. Wonder he doesn't run the Themis Decree, correct?
No, he doesn't.
Alright. Yep, so Priest of Cudgel here.
So he did have that one. Like I guess he had 2 cudgels in his hand, and he was saving his Evos to get potential out of those. The problem is he's in a very awkward spot.
Yep.
You know, he can clear both these, go face for 3. Then he's presented with 7 damage on board. Does he want to take 7 damage? Probably not. Oh, he did have the Heavenly Hound to back it up.
Which isn't too bad. Ooh, is that the first beast call? No, second one.
The problem here is Dino T does have the curse to clear the board.
Oh no, he doesn't even need the curse. He could just go ham with the golem too.
Yeah, I mean he could get the Mithril Golem down. It's a big body. You might as well.
Right?
Oh, he's gonna fire the laser.
Fire my lasers!
Just melt. I mean, it does have a cool animation. The card's
does.
not ran, but it's got an amazing animation.
We get to finally see the golem at use.
Right.
See, it's not a bad card, guys.
I mean, I think I played it too when I played Take 2.
Yep. Take 2.
I only took 1.
Alright. So, Ancient Alchemists. This is actually looking pretty good, but, you know, game over. So, the turn around for Dino T. He's not out yet, boys.
He did that reverse sweep, so it looks like Dino T will take it.
Yep.
Very close.
Very. Alright, now we're gonna go ahead and switch. Oh, that was actually an interesting match.
Yeah, it was, you know, Momo had a very good first game. He didn't even play bad. He played very well, especially when you see his rank.
Yep.
You know, he played
well, especially the first match. He curved out, and he definitely did the best he could. It's just that the draws for his second and third game wasn't there like his first.
Yeah, I mean his second game he started off very strong, but Dino just, like I said, that triple Will of the Forest. He was able to stall out that damage and just back-to-back Will of Forest to keep the board clear until he could get into other cards, and it was enough. Let's see.
So right now from the bracket here, we see that Tornus lost with a 0-2 against Civ, and we see that Goms versus Medvid. He also came back too, apparently in his match. Same thing with the Dino T versus Sweep. He lost to Haven while he was playing Force, which is the same thing as Dino T versus...
Awkward.
Yep. The only thing is that he reverse sweep with his Force against Runecraft and then Swordcraft versus Runecraft.
You do look down. The people that did good last tournament are up there too. Noir is waifu and Stoles.
Yep.
Both 2-0. Dodo player was up there as well. He's 2-0.
Yep.
It looks like we have a lot of our returning people still moving up the ladder here.
Yep. And it seems that Skyrise just got 2-0'd.
Yeah, this bracket, this round moved relatively quick.
Yep.
There's only a couple matches still left. While we do have this downtime, is there anything you want to cover? Anything you want to go over?
Not at the moment, since I'm doing administration stuff right now. If you do have something you want to discuss about someone's deck. Oh, actually, there are some new cards we can talk about. Have you seen the... I gotta pull it up. Give me a moment.
Yeah, I gotta pull up that list as well.
It was a lot of release in like a short amount of times too. It's almost the full 105 too. Maybe we can also get the chat discussing about these certain cards. The one that's new, that just got released 4 hours ago, we have a 3-drop, Ifa Wyvern, the Wyvern Rider, right? So basically it's a Dragoncraft card. The stats are 2/1, and what it does is that it can't be attacked. Give me a moment. So it can't be attacked, right? But at enhanced 7 it gains 2/2 and storm. I can see this working in a lot of Storm
I
dragons.
personally think it's terrible.
I mean,
What,
I think
what do
it's
you
terrible
replace
too,
this
but
with as a 3-drop? The biggest thing is, yeah, it can't be attacked. Dragon's already got a bunch of that. What hurts this card is it's got 1 health.
which is kind of weird.
It dies to everything. Like, that's why 1 health minions or followers. I keep doing the minions. 1 health followers are very bad right now, especially in this meta. If it changes, maybe. But if you look at its enhance, it's an enhance 7. So you would play it for 7. It would become a 4/3 storm. It's a worse Forte. For 7, it even costs more, and it's worse. So it'd be interesting to see how this card is played.
Yeah. If they make it so that it's a 3-drop despite there's an enhanced 7 and doesn't take the whole thing, then it's actually somewhat useful. But aside from that, if it takes away this 7, then it's worse than Forte, which I agree.
Yeah, if it was a 3 cost 2/1 can't be attacked with Storm,
It wouldn't be too bad.
it would be very good. But I can't see that replacing anything, so.
Next up we have Baylor, which is Bane. It is Shadowcraft card, 3/6, and last word says deal 3 damage to all enemy follower when it dies.
I like this. This is a good card.
This is an interesting clear as well. It's a high cost, and your opponent pretty much will think, if I destroy this, my entire thing gets wiped.
And if I don't, it's a 3/6 Bane, so it's gonna kill anything it runs into.
Yes, or go face and just ignore anything.
I could definitely see this. You know, decks already run, especially Shadow run Foul Tempest.
Yep.
If they're not aggro, most aggro maybe run 1. But what's interesting with this card is you couple this card with, you know, triple Foul Tempest, and you have a card like Necro Elementalist.
Yeah.
That when it dies, it deals 1. So if you can follow your turns with this, deal damage to enemy followers, and just have these constant board clears, this is a very good card for Shadow, and I think it's going to see a lot of play.
I agree. I don't really have much. I feel like this is going to be good for mid-ranges, or aggro mid-range too. It wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, definitely in control.
Definitely in control though.
Yeah.
Next card we have is called Elf of the Gemstones, Forest Craft Gold card. Stats is 5, or 5-drop for 3/4 stats. Whenever another ally follower comes into play, give it Rush. That's a lot of fairies. Suicide fairies.
Yeah, I mean, you could do a lot of Suicide Fairies. Other things that is pretty interesting with it is dropping a Tia. You know, you get the 2 bodies from it. Instead of a 4/4 and a 1/1. This does apply to anything. Verdant Stewart. Balt. You know, with the new Wolf card coming out.
Oh yeah.
So there could be some very interesting action. How do I want to word that? Very interesting interactions with this card and other forest cards. I'm not sure how useful it'll be. I'd have to test it.
Yeah, I don't think there isn't going to be a whole lot of use, because there's already great 5-drops like Tia's, and I think it's just pretty much Tia. I was just kidding. There isn't a lot of 5-drops.
Well, there's a decent amount. Verdant Stewart is actually very good. People just don't play it. It's a 3/5 ward. Evo's up to a 5/7 that gives you 2 fairies in your hand. I find it to be a very good card, and it's ran in a lot of your control lists. So
we'll see how this works. There isn't a lot of I don't think it's too interesting, but it's kind of, I'm on the fence with this.
Yeah, 3/4 stats. It's gonna die pretty quick, and if it doesn't, then you can follow it up with like what, a Cynthia or something maybe.
Next is we got Alvin 11 Saber, Swordcraft, and it's a commander. 5-drop for 3/5 stats. It's a dumb storm card with an enhanced 9. Can't be a damage until the end of the turn this card is played. Can attack twice per turn. It can hit you in the face for 6 damage on turn 9, if not turn 1. And I think that we're going to see Storm Swordcraft very soon, or Banner.
Wait, you said if not turn 1?
No, not turn 1, turn 5. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
Sorry.
Confused.
Turn 5.
Well, it can only hit for 3. It doesn't get the can attack twice until it's enhanced.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think this card, I really am excited to play this. It looks like Lucifer's evil brother. It really does.
Or Aurelia's brother.
Aurelia's brother, yeah.
Because of the saber.
Sort of yeah. It just looks like if you look at the artwork for Lucifer.
Yeah.
And you look at this, it's very like similar, but it does just Aurelia's brother. This card looks really fun. I'm interesting.
There was a earlier on Facebook. There was a text error that says this was an officer before, and I was like, "What? It's not an officer." Good thing it's a commander. If it was officer, it'd be broken. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if this was an officer, you'd pull it with Avonblader and
pull it from Avonblader.
And you could buff it.
Yeah.
Like, you could see some OTK combos potentially. Albert with like you know, Mentor's Teaching, get some good damage in.
Yeah.
I really like that card.
I do too. It's going to be a new meta for for Forest, not Forest, Swordcraft. Wow. I play too many Forest cards. One of those decks. I play too many Forest. But yeah, this is going to be like a new change for swords. We're not going to see we're going to see a lot more aggros because of this now. We're going to see more aggro mid, especially too, running like 9 1-drops, kind of similar to Bad Forest, or 6 1-drop, still not 1-drop, but just playing all the storms. Can't wait. Which also means we don't have an issue with Runecraft too, because you'd be running this on turn 5 and evoing it. Anyways, we got a next card, Disaster Witch, 6-drop. It's a 5/5. And then we have a fanfare that says put a Crimson Sorcery into your hand. Stats is 5/4. It's okay. I don't think it's gonna be a lot of use. Mid-range, maybe.
It'll be interesting. I mean, you look at Rune, they have 6 drops like Shadow Witch, which turns an enemy follower or into a clay golem, and that's not even ran. So maybe this will be ran. It is a 7/6 on Evo, which is pretty decent for stats, but I don't think it'll see too much play.
Alright, next card. We see Urius Levin Duke. It's a Bloodcraft card. 2-drop, but it's a 1/3. When an enemy follower comes into play, deal 1 damage to the enemy leader.
Okay, oh, this card against Forest.
This is a dick card.
Yeah.
I played this on first turn. Oh, look at you. You get to play 1, you get to do damage. Hey, Agrobats.
Well, it's 2 costs, so it'll be second turn. But...
It's a 2 cost, but if you go first and your opponent goes on to a whatever turns, they have to destroy this first. Otherwise, they get 1 damage. Yeah.
Against Forest?
Oh yeah, oh my god, yeah.
They're gonna deal so much damage. Imagine having like 2 of these things out and they play.
Right?
Some
why should I hurt you when you can hurt yourself?
That's pretty interesting. I think this card will see play. They don't have very many 2-drops in Blood. You know, they've got Vanya, which no one will ever take out. It's Vanya. Let's be real here. Yeah. And Blood Wolf. They do have Blood Pact and Razor Claw, but in terms of minion followers, darn it, yeah, they don't have too much.
Next one is Havencraft, which is also an Almirage, but they can't fit all that letter in there, so they just called her Luxhorn's Sarissa. The 7-drop with a 5/5 stats. It has Rush and cannot receive more than 3 damage at a time. So which means if you're... It has to be 1 card that does the damage. And it has to be less than 3, so basically you're doing chip damage. If it's like a 7 damage and you're going to attack it, it only does 3 instead of 7.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think it'll see much play. I mean, there's 7 drops. Most Haven decks don't even run their 7 drops.
Yeah.
The only 7 drop they really have is Curate, which is ran sometimes. But
I want to try to make a return of the Control Haven mid-range.
Guardian Suns, Curate, run the John D Arcs with the Incandescent Dragon.
Yep.
This card might be pretty cool in that, something like that.
Yep. Especially with Kaguya.
Oh yeah, Kaguya would be annoying. See, this card, I would rather just run the Sky Sprite. That gives something rush. The 3 damage at a time is
It's an interesting mechanic. It's similar to the how you can negate 1 damage, except this is a reverse part. It negates anything higher than 3.
That's the problem. I think the cost. I think if it was 6, this might see some
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
But 7 is very high for something very limited.
Maybe during the test plays it was 6, but they nerfed it to a 7. Because generally with the 5/5, we see that in 6s.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Anyways, next card. Got the Entangled Vines. It's a 1-drop for Forestcraft. It's a spell and it says give an enemy faller -10 attack until the end of the turn. Destroy it or enhance 5, destroy it instead. This is amazing for Roach. Roach kill and still keep the Roach.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's okay.
Generally, it's just gonna die though. Like, you'd have to return it. This is another 1-cost spell, and you have to think. Forest already has so many 1-drops. Water Fairy, Elf Child, May, Nature's Guidance, Fairy Circle. What do you replace? All those cards are staple, and even if you remove Water Fairy, it's because you're putting in higher cost cards. So
they just started with the 2nd round. I gotta go ahead and
okay. We will continue that later, guys. We're gonna move on to the 2nd round.
Uh-oh. Oh, so they started the match, but we couldn't get in.
Oh, wait, all of them? And 7Z and Night Oracle?
Yeah. We're just gonna go back with Dino T again, maybe. Unless I can get someone that are in my friends list. Pick up on that match. Yeah, I don't see anyone. Alright. Okay, we got one.
Alright, who are we watching?
We are watching NZ7. He already created the room, but he won't show up, so we're trying to get him. Oh.
So he's our number 2, so we did get it. Okay, and Shadow how?
I'm sorry?
It's NC7 and Shadow, or N7
yeah, Shadow how.
Shadow how.
Yep.
They're pulling that up right now, guys. Alright, so I'm waiting to enter the match, and then I'll go over the deck list and whatever.
Yep. So we're getting the perspective of a new player called NC7, and he's currently on the top feed. Or N7Z. Versus Shadow How.
Yeah, in 7Z we have running a mid-range sword, and he is running, it looks like Stormhaven, and then we have Shadow How with mid-range sword as well, and a very weird Haven list. Wow, this is very interesting. So Shadow How is running, it looks like it builds in sort of like Stormhaven. You know, he's got the Pinion Prayers, the Manu, Dogma, or Heavenly Hound. But then he has cards like Godsteel Wings, Holy Mage, Pious Fox. It looks like he went, it looks like a budget deck. He's running a 1 of Holy Mage, a 1 Garuda, 1 Dual Flames, a Gabriel, a Satan, an Odin, a 1 Pious Fox. This should be very interesting for a budget deck. It looks like you just sort of filled it with some top-end cards, since maybe you only had the 1 Garuda, and put the Holy Mage in there, maybe to get some value from that. So should be interesting. His mid-range sword list, running Gabriel, 2 Otahimi, 3 Sage. It's running a 1 of Aventblader. Rest is pretty standard. For a sword, now for N7Z, we do have Stormhaven. He's running a Temple Defender, really good in this meta right now. He's running a 1 of Decree and a Moon. The rest is very standard for Haven. His sword list, he's running 1 of Aventblader, double Otahimi, double Alwidas, triple Sage. He's actually doing the Pompous Princess and Fencer set up with Mentor's Teaching.
Yep.
So it should be very interesting matches, especially Shadow House. Looks like budget Stormhaven list.
Well, they got him this far. Second round.
Alright, well, here we go. Mid-range sword versus mid-range sword.
Mirror matches. And I calculated that, so they're exactly playing. Wow, look at all those 1-drops.
He's got a lot of 1-drops there. He's running N7Z is running triple Quickblader, triple Vanguard. So, oh wow, the Quickblader. He has Fencer. He does have a Floral Fencer, which he probably won't play until turn 5.
Yep.
Honestly, with the sword versus sword matchup, having the extra Evo helps, and I know people talk about it so much. But in the mirror matchup, I actually prefer getting the first turn, and the reason why is if you can go into Otahimi first, as a sword player, you generally almost win that matchup, especially if you can follow it up with a Wind God or a Sage Commander. It's whoever gets the Otahimi down first.
Yep.
Almost.
The other counter way to Otahime too is preparing for that first turn. If you get it like a large board in your second turn, you can instead just play the Sage Commander and kill all of the Otahime. You already have like at least 4 board and then Sage Commander. That is the counter to the first turn Otahime.
Yeah. Not only that, having Aurelia is another very big card. When I go first this sword, and I only have the 2 Evos, I really like to have Aurelia for turn 5 to counter that Floral Fencer play of my opponent.
I generally don't like that. I have bad experiences when it's Floral Fencer and then I see a Aurelia on turn 5, and even though I killed it, I played Aurelia on turn 5 and I killed their 4/4, or do you go after their 2/2?
I usually go after the 2/2. It makes it a little bit more awkward in trading.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's not always good. It's good if you have 1 or 2 followers on board.
Yep.
So you can clear out that weenie stuff, so they have to Evo into it. It forces them to Evo pretty much.
This is actually pretty good too for trading.
Yeah, this sets him in a very nice spot. He has to Evo or buff one of his followers here to clear that Floral Fencer, or go in with his own.
Or get another one.
Yeah, that works.
Both of them do have double Floral Fencers though. But I feel like turn 2 is slightly ahead. He needs... This is the counter to Otahime that I was referring to. But he doesn't have it here. So he's actually in a somewhat a poor position.
Yeah, it's very awkward. You know, your opponent has the board, and you're down on Evos now. So if he has something like, you know, Aurelia here, or even running in his board and then playing the Otahime and can follow it up, he's got 4 cards in his hand versus N7's 1 card.
Oh, this is actually good too.
Yeah, this is a very strong play. You just trade the 2/2s into both 1/1s, leave him with a 2/2 on board. I would have done the value trade there. The reason why is I would have tried to play around my opponent having Sage Commander, because if he would have Sage Commander, he could have traded both the 2/2s in and killed my Sage Commander. So I definitely would have done it the other way. Maybe he's playing around Angelic Barrage, or there's a reason, but...
Oh, trading into everything. To be honest, I think I would have just all faced there as a Hail Mary. Or traded 2/2 into the 2/2.
The problem is if you do that, your opponent has 3 cards in hand, and he was going to draw. So if he had an Aurelia and you decided to go face, you were done.
Yeah,
that's the game.
Pretty much. I mean, this is still almost game. Very difficult to come back. He needs to get like a back-to-back Aurelia. And top decking here is just very difficult to come back to. Currently has 27 cards in his deck left.
Yeah, he's in a very bad spot. I don't think there's much you can do here.
That Otahime is a little bit late.
Yeah, 3 turns late.
Bad. And N7 the first round. Which means we will be seeing the Haven versus Sword. Usually if this was Storm Havens, we can see that Haven can have it a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, Shadow How does have his Haven left now. The thing is, like I said, it's very budget. You know, 1 Garuda. It's running an Odin, a Gabriel, a Satan, a Dual Flames, Pious Fox. It should be interesting to see how it works, being sort of budget focused.
Yep. Did you just say Satan?
What?
You said Satan?
Oh, sorry. That's what a lot of your more veteran players call it. It is Prince of Darkness, which is a 10 play point 6/6 that replaces your deck with an Apocalypse deck.
Yeah.
For Apocalypse cards, it's just something you're gonna have to see.
It used to be called that until Cygame decided to censor it in case people were a little bit religious. So Prince of Darkness was the censored version of it.
More religion friendly. Makes sense.
Yeah. Which kind of interesting that they didn't change Lucifer's name. But then again, it could be just a regular old name.
So, doesn't really have much to play.
Yep.
For me here, I would probably drop the Maid Leader. The Veteran Lancer's fine. The reason I dropped the Maid Leader is to try and get into some kind of other commanders. I believe he's running Pompous Princess, and and Fencer, so.
Still going first, but this isn't too bad of a hand start.
No, it's not. I mean, he doesn't really have a turn 4. He could tempo the Floral Fencer out. It's gonna die. He does have the Advent Blader on 5, or the Floral Fencer.
Fervent Soldier gonna be Blader. There's no reason to play the Floral Fencer. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say trade. The thing is if he has Cudgel, he's already in a bad spot.
Yep. Floral Fencer being played, but Cudgel eats up everything.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of fine. If he has to do a big trade here, we do know that Shadow is only running, well, he's not running any decrees. Like I said, it's more Stormhaven-ish, but very budget. He's not running any decrees, so
You think you think N7 has a chance?
Yeah, I think N7, as long as he pilots these next couple turns correctly, he should be fine. He does have the Odahime, he does have the Sage Commander.
He does need a suicide here, though.
Yeah, I don't know if I...
Actually, no, he doesn't. He can play the Sea Queen Otahime Evo that kill it, and then... Oh...
Yeah, I prefer this.
Really?
Yeah, playing the Pompous Princess and the Aesthetic Knight. You know, then again, you have to think, he doesn't know what his opponent has. Maybe he's trying to bait out, you know, a decree. Make his opponent decree this board so he can follow it up with that Odahime.
Yep.
And it just sort of puts different things on the board, and he can follow it up with the Odahime still. And the problem is Odahime on 6 with no Evo, it's especially when you don't have control of the game, it's very tough. Odahime is strong, but she definitely has her downfalls.
Kind of like what Westmont has said, turn 6 is the most optimal play when you play Otahime when you can. Any other turn, it's like, she just gets weaker.
Yeah, I mean, there are cards like that. It depends. Like, if he would have played it there and he killed the Odahime, he could follow it up with the smaller board. It's very awkward, that turn.
Yep. And that Heavenly Hound is pretty beefy right now.
Yeah, that's a stout puppy. I think here you just have to. What can you do? You can
Avon Blader.
Swing. Yeah, I mean, there's not very many options. You could kill the Heavenly Hound with the Fencer, and no, you can't even kill it with that. You have to Avon Blader here.
Yeah. To be honest, Avon Blader is the only way to get the option. Does he run Assassin in this deck?
No, it's just pure mid-range.
Well, at least he picked up a Fencer, but not much is done here. If he gets rid of that 4-5, and then he'll be looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's in a very good spot if he can just get through these turns.
I wouldn't say good spot, it's just another wall he'll have to hit or go through.
Well, he'll be in a much better spot than he's in currently. I consider that to be a good spot.
To be honest, he can just go face here, to be honest. It's just a 4-5. Even with Sage Commander, he would still need to bash in like 2 things to get rid of that.
Yeah, it's not looking too good here for the sword deck.
And this is the correct play though. I'd whole soul swing the dog, get the novice trooper into the 4-1, the fervent soldier, enter.
Yeah, I mean that's the only play. That's his only option right now.
That works too.
Yeah, it didn't really matter which one he whole sold. Here comes that holy mage I was talking about. Yeah, even being a budget Haven list, it's worked quite well for him.
Wow. That holy mage.
Yeah, I told you that little holy mage in there, putting in some work. She's growing.
That's 7 damage next turn.
Not looking too good. Like I said, Shadow does only have 1 Garuda in his deck. So, problem is there's not much he can do here. He dies to board next turn. So. Yeah, it's too late. He's got the 2 birds coming out.
4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 damage right there. That brings Shadow How 2-0.
Yep. Alright, so Shadow How takes away the wins there.
So Shadow won both with his game. Interesting enough too, that was a B3 player. All the B players are winning.
Well, not the first match, but he did.
Not the first match. We'll see how it goes in round 3.
Most definitely.
Currently leading is Envy Bear. Currently 2-0. Definitely plenty of 2-0.
Yeah, there's a ton of 2-0s.
And apparently Filthy Weeb is in here. What? Filthy Weeb is playing? I did not know this.
Interesting.
Anyways, Envy Bear is currently leading with the score.
Well, I mean, they put the name up there, but everyone's at 6 points.
Yep.
So. Well, all the 2-0s at least. No.
Yeah, at least all the 2-0. In the meantime, we do have some downtimes. So.